Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, as the UK formally becomes a member of the CPTPP, I'd like to not only remind us all of the major points of the agreement, but focusing on Kemi Badenoch's assertion that it will bring enormous benefits to farmers, which seems odd because she is the cabinet minister who published the impact assessment of the arrangement, and it's not what her document says. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So when it comes to the CPTPP membership, I've not had to use that for a while. I can still say it. But there are a few quick things to point out before I get around to how ridiculous Badenoch is making herself look again. The first is, so because the Tories signed us up to the CPTPP as a way of excusing leaving the EU, and because we couldn't possibly be a member of both trading blocs, some people see our membership as a bad thing. However, as trade experts point out, it's not going to really do any harm. It will actually help some businesses, so we may as well be in it as not. Also, it's a really simple process to leave. This is not like leaving the EU. We don't have to disentangle ourselves because there's no like real constitutional anchors or anything like that. It's such a weak arrangement. Like when you want to leave, you just write a letter giving 6 months notice and that's it, done. So at the point at which we'd say like to join the customs union, which may well be the first step to rejoining the EU in time, we can just end our CPTPP membership half a year in advance, not a problem. That being said, it is not a replacement for EU membership either. The Conservatives' own economic impact assessment said that it would boost our GDP by 0.08% after about 15 years, and this figure was considered optimistic. So in reality, it might not actually do anything for our economy. Now you compare this with the 4% hits to GDP that economists widely accept leaving the EU, including the customs union single market, have caused. It's like, oh, this is stunning, isn't it? What? You mean leaving a trade bloc with our actual neighbours on the same continent in order to join a much weaker trade bloc based around the Pacific? That's not as good. How does that work? Anyway, the fact of the matter is, this arrangement does not bring enormous benefits to really very many people at all. There will be some individual British businesses which benefit. Those are mostly ones importing from the other CPTPP members. I knew I'd get it wrong if I said it enough times. When it comes to goods, at least. It will do almost nothing for exports. And exports are the problem we have, according to all those Brexiteers who banged on about balance of trade. Remember that? You may have to cast your mind back. Balance of trade, Nigel Farage, Daniel Hannan, all these people. Oh, our balance of trade is really bad. We import more from the EU than we export. Balance of trade is really bad, really bad. Yeah, it's loads worse now. It's way worse after leaving the EU because we can't export as much, but we still need to import things. And CPTPP membership, that's going to tip it further towards the imports. But I wanted to also take a moment to consider something Badenoch said. So she said, and I quote, this is today, I think, "The Conservatives delivered CPTPP, a trade deal that brings enormous benefits to everyone from British farmers to fintech and small businesses to the largest manufacturers." Now, I assume those largest manufacturers she's referring to are the Chinese ones who are preparing to join the CPTPP as well. Because this is actually an odd moment. If I just take a little diversion here, this is an odd moment for the Conservatives. See, they've gone from being very pro-China under David Cameron to very, very hawkish in recent years, to the point whereby they're now trying to make a massive deal out of this Chinese spy affair, which really actually implicates themselves very badly. And China is in the process of joining the CPTPP. So the Conservatives, like Kemi Badenoch, at the same time as she and her party are trying to trip up Labour's efforts to forge closer relations with China in the face of a Trump presidency, they're also hailing an agreement which will naturally bring us close to China and give China enhanced access to the British market. Funnily enough, the media don't seem to be making much of this. Wonder why that is. But anyway, little diversion. Badenoch said it was a great deal for farmers, enormous benefits for farmers, right? Now, We obviously know that with farmers being currently more than a little annoyed, shall we say, with Labour, she is trying to win back rural support for the Conservatives. She's also said that only the Conservatives can be trusted with trade deals for farmers, which is news to farmers because they weren't all that impressed with the trade deals with New Zealand or Australia. Even the DEFRA minister at the time the agreements were made, George Eustace, later described them as a bad deal for Britain. But Badenoch wasn't personally responsible for those deals. It was before she was a cabinet minister. However, she was the Secretary of State for Business and Trade when the Department for Business and Trade published the Economic Impact Assessment for CPTPP membership. So what does it say about farming then? Well, it doesn't mention farming in a great deal of detail as like a sector, but obviously there is a breakdown of how this deal is expected to affect agricultural products, in terms of how they will benefit. Sorry, did I say benefit? Sorry, I meant suffer. So according to Kemi Badenoch's own impact assessment report, agriculture, forestry and fishing is expected to take a 0.63% hit on the UK side as a result of this deal. Oh, but don't worry, it's supposed to be a 0.83% boost for the other CPTPP members, right? So they benefit. So Peruvian farmers will get some benefit out of it, right? Just British farmers, sorry, you've got to take a hit. Processed and semi-processed foods also take a hit on the UK side. The only positive in terms of things you can throw down your neck for the UK is for beverages and tobacco products. But that is of little benefit to British farmers. So when Kemi Badenoch says that the deal will be of enormous benefit to farmers, what she means is that they will actually be expected to take a hit in order that business services and financial services get some benefit. Because those are actually the big winners on the UK side from this deal. It's export of services, right? As it always will be. And this is from her own analysis that she published in government as Secretary of State personally last year. So I suppose at this point, the question is, are farmers dumb enough to believe it? Or does Badenoch just hope they are? Because the reality is that this CPTPP membership is as confused as any Tory policy. The Tories want to adopt a very aggressive stance against China, particularly buoyed on by the fact that Trump wants to do so as well, and they want to align with him. Yet they've worked on an agreement and are today hailing that agreement, which naturally brings us closer to China, giving China enhanced access to our market once they join. It's worth nothing squared in terms of GDP, but what impacts it does have on a sector-by-sector basis are not really what you'd expect of a Conservative Party that wants to win elections. Like, it's bad for sectors in the rural communities upon which they rely, and it's good for industries in London and parts of Scotland where they win very few seats in elections. It's like absolutely mad. It benefits places where they can't win and hammers places where they can but aren't guaranteed. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.